Oh yeah, TrailNewbie, powered by Disciple Off-Road. We start with a beautiful forest road, but where's the Jeep? There's the Jeep, a tranquil scene, but this ain't what we came here for. We came to see those halo headlights, oh yeah. Now, play a little peekaboo among the trees. Now the zoom out shot as we're driving to our filming spot. Now I hate this shot, but I'll use it still, cause it's all I got. Now look here, the drone's drawing near. We gonna get real close. There it is, that slow forward drone movement as the Jeep drives right at you. Oh yeah. Oh man, don't give me those back end blues. We came here to see those roto packs peek between the trees. There she is, that glorious four-wheeling machine. Wait, isn't that the same shot? I ain't got time for this. We near the end of the drone show, but this bird's eye view is a little slow. Speed it up. That's better. I dig. We almost to our filming spot, but what you don't know is we filming 10 miles away, but it looks almost the same. Pulling in, we had to set the camera up, pull in, reverse back out, then back in. Look at those Oracle taillights, not sponsored. This is the third take getting out of the Jeep, but I think he nailed it. Hands in the pockets so naturally.
All right, so welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna get straight into today's video, which, as you saw in the thumbnail, is all about the ultimate portable power station setup. And I'm gonna take you through the system that I have here in the Jeep and how that works for me for all of my overlanding, car camping, off-roading adventures. So quick video. It's gonna be really focused on the detail, so stay tuned for that. If you're looking for a portable power station for yourself, this is the video for you, especially, as you'll find out later, especially if you're on a budget but want the maximum output for your portable power station. So let me dive right into it. Hang on just a second. All right, so we're gonna talk a lot about this VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500 right here and how it compares to a few of the name brand, so to speak, power stations that you'll see out there, from Goal Zero to Jackery to Anker. And I'm going to take you through a comparison there and then see how this stacks up against those bigger name brands, shall we say. You probably might not even have heard of VTOMAN. But before we go into the comparison, I'm going to show you a battery that I have in the back here that powers my fridge kind of regularly and how I have that set up. And then we'll come right back to this, the VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500. All right, for my fridge, in order to keep it on at all times, I actually just turned it on there. I run that off of an Anker 757. I think it's now called the Solix F1500. You turn it on here, you can see it's pumping 54 watts, 61 watts for my IceCo JP50. Love this fridge. I did a whole video on this fridge if you want to check that out on my channel. But this battery stays right here at all times on the back of my Vector Highland shelf. So this is kind of the permanent battery that's operating my fridge, and I'll charge some stuff off it from time to time. But as I said in the beginning of the video, this is about portable, and that's something that you can move around camp. Obviously my Anker, I could take out, I can move it around camp, that's fine. But I keep that permanent, and then my new power station, the VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500, that is what I'm going to use around camp for various things. Before we get into maybe some of my favorite things that I use it for, what I want to do is give you an overall comparison of this VTOMAN versus what I'm going to say are its main competitors. So I pulled 3 other portable power stations and all of their statistics, and we're going to compare them against the VTOMAN so that by the end of this video you have a great idea whether you want to buy a Jackery, a Goal Zero, an Anker, or the VTOMAN. It's probably not one that's hit your list just yet. Pretty new to the scene in terms of from what I can tell, and I'm really excited to show you all these features, so let's get right to it. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing that I had to question is the name. Is it VTOMAN? Is it VTOMAN? I actually emailed the company and asked them how to properly pronounce the name, because we all know Jackery, well, it's Jackery. Goal Zero, Goal Zero. Pretty easy, right? This one here, VTOMAN. So as you see it in the marketplace, think VTOMAN. I put down a few notes here on my iPad because I'm not trying to say that I am the ultimate authority when it comes to portable power stations, but I went to each manufacturer's website, pulled some stats that I thought were very important, and jotted them down here so I could bring these stats to you. All right, the 1500 class of portable power stations. That's something that's going to be right there just over 1500 watt hours. I think that is perfect for the overlanding rig. There's plenty of battery capacity, while at the same time, the size of the portable power station is still small enough that you can carry it around camp without looking, too goofy, right? So a 2000 watt hour class battery, that for me starts to get more into the van lifer side of things. And then obviously beyond that, you can do a full onboard power, which I just have not obviously done here because I just have just the Jeep. And so the batteries or the portable power stations that I have are fully sufficient for me. And so what I'm focusing on is overlanding or car camping. So why is the 1500 approximate watt hour battery the sweet spot? Well, for me, it's 3 things. Number 1, because there's enough power storage to get you through a typical one-nighter, but also you have enough power to maybe even make it to 3 or 4 nights, depending on how much power you need. Number 2, because at this size of battery, you can run more typical household appliances that are gonna draw, a higher wattage, maybe even up into that, need for 1000 watts at one time. Think of something like a air fryer or something like that, blender, different things like that. A Keurig I've seen people use. You can run those off this size battery. Number 3, because the 1500 watt hour class of battery is big in terms of capacity, but yet it still is somewhat small in terms of its size. So therefore, it's not going to take up a ton of room in your vehicle. All right, and if you've looked at this battery size online, it's likely that you've run into, as I've mentioned before, all the household names. You've got Jackery, you've got Goal Zero, and Anker. Along with, those household names comes sticker shock. You know what I'm talking about, the price tag. So let's go and start here at the top end of the scale with the Goal Zero Yeti 1500X. That goes for $17.99. Not $17.99, $1,799. Then you go to the Jackery Explorer 1500. That goes for $16.99. Down to the Anker Solix 1500. That's a little more reasonable. We're starting to get into a little better price point. That goes for $13.99. Okay, so we're getting there. Knowing that historically the general cost per watt hour is around $1. So you can expect to pay, around $1,500 for this size of battery. Again, I say that's historically. I think we've been, used to that type of cost, but I think I'm about to blow your mind here. And that is with the introduction of the VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500, we have a price that is currently selling for $7.99. That's right, it's nearly half the cost of the other 1500 watt hour battery stations or portable power stations. So you've got to be asking yourself, what gives? Why is it so much cheaper? It must have less features. It must charge slower, have less, cycle capacity, something, right? What if I told you that this battery can go toe to toe with the big boys? And we're about to find out, in many ways, it might come out on top. So I'm gonna focus on 5 key attributes of a portable power station that, for me, are the deciding factors. And the first one is life cycles. What is a life cycle? Simply put, it's the number of charges that your power station has before the battery begins to deteriorate. And the gold standard is what's called LIFEP04, LifePo4. What the heck is a LifePo4? It's lithium, that's the Li. The Fe is for iron, and the PO4 is for phosphate. The LifePo4 batteries are known for not just being able to have hundreds of life cycles before the battery deterioration begins, they can have thousands. In the case of the batteries that I previously mentioned, here's how they stack up according to their own websites. In this case, only 2 of them have LifePo4 batteries. Starting with the Goal Zero Yeti 1500X, it has 500 life cycles until it starts to deteriorate to 80% capacity. Next, the Jackery, which has 800 life cycles. Okay, it's creeping up there. Then you get to Anker, the Solix F1500, which has 3,000 life cycles. Oh, that's right. It's a LifePo4 battery, lithium, iron, phosphate battery. Now, 3,000 for the Anker. VTOMAN advertises they have 3,100 life cycles. So I don't know if that's just a marketing thing, but they beat out the closest competition, the Anker, by 100 life cycles. So that just doesn't really seem right. The most expensive power station, which is the Goal Zero, has the least amount of life cycles at 500. And the least expensive, the VTOMAN, has the most at 3,100. But that's according to each manufacturer's website as of the date of this filming. So if I've got that wrong for some reason, please in the comments, find a way, keyboard warrior, let me know if I've got that wrong for some reason. So as I said, the first attribute that I'm looking for is life cycles. So after those 3,100 life cycles, does the VTOMAN 1500 Flashspeed 1500 just stop working? And the answer is obviously no. You can still use it. It's believed at that point in time, the battery, as you recharge it, has begun to deteriorate to where you're only getting about 80% of the charge that you used to get when it was straight out of the box. Now, let's move on to my second key attribute, and that's what I'm looking for right before a trip, and that is charge time. How long does the power station take to charge off of a regular wall outlet from 0 to 100%. Now, this is important because when you're on the go and you need your battery charged quickly, you could pop into a Starbucks, right? Plug it into the wall and charge your power bank. I've seen people do that on various overlanding and vehicle living channels. So let's use that example to figure out how long you need to sit in Starbucks discreetly to charge your portable power station. Again, here's the stats from the manufacturer's websites. The Goal Zero Yeti 1500X is the most expensive one, so it must charge really, really quickly, right? And their website says 14 hours. What the heck? Okay, that's forever. 14 hours is forever. Do you know how many chai lattes you would need to be drinking in Starbucks during 14 hours? That's insanely slow. I mean, come on, Goal Zero. I think we expect a little more for that price tag. Okay, now the Jackery Explorer 1500. And you know what? I think it's gonna totally redeem what just happened with the Goal Zero at 14 hours. Here it says the Jackery recharge time from 0 to 100% is 6 hours. Okay, I guess that could be reasonable. You got to go to Starbucks. Maybe you need to use their Wi-Fi, do some remote work, answer some emails, that sort of thing. I guess 6 hours is at least reasonable within the realm of, how long it should take a portable power station to recharge. For me, that's just way too long. I would say I need something at least half that. Call it maybe 2 to 3 hours. That might be reasonable. So let's move on and see if we can find something a little quicker here. All right, so next is the Anker Solix F1500. And now on Anker's actual website, I couldn't find the answer. It does appear that they say it can charge on a wall outlet to 80% capacity within 1 hour. But elsewhere, I found that it said to charge to a full charge, it's right about 2 hours. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt and call it an hour and a half, something to that effect. And so, you know what? Now we're talking. You go into Starbucks, you get a venti pike place, and you'll be in there, an hour and a half. That sounds, decent to me. And it seems like we're getting somewhere in terms of this charging time. All right, now last but not least is the VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500. And this has just got to be where the VTOMAN falls short. Maybe it takes like 24 hours or something to recharge it from 0 to 100. Now, let's see where it compares. VTOMAN charges from 0 to 100 in 1 hour. Yeah, that's right. Well, and I guess that's why they call it the flash speed. It's funny. When you plug this into the wall, you can literally watch the percentage go up right before your very eyes. Unlike other batteries where it would probably be like watching paint dry if you were sitting around watching it charge. Unless you like watching paint dry, no judgment here. So on life cycles, the VTOMAN comes out on top. On recharge time, the VTOMAN came out on top. Okay, now let's talk about my third criteria, and that is size, weight, or the physical features here. Starting with the Goal Zero Yeti 1500X weighs 45.64 pounds and is about 15 inches by 10 inches by 10 inches. So not bad. I think that's going to age well when compared against the competition. One great thing about that Goal Zero is that the top of it is flat. There's no bulky handle there, so you can really pack that unit into a small space inside your vehicle. All right, now the Jackery Explorer 1500 weighs almost 10 pounds less at 35.27 pounds and is 14 inches by 10 inches by 13 inches. I'm kind of rounding on those measurements as well. Make sure you go and check out the websites yourself to find those exact dimensions. Now, the Jackery has a major design flaw, and we all kind of know it. It has a massive handle on top that does not fold down. Some of the newer ones, they do have a folding flat handle. And while this is really nice when you're carrying the unit, it's horrible when it comes to needing to store it in a small space. And in terms of the overall actual design of these portable power stations, the Jackery is lowest on my list due to that bulky handle. Okay, now we are to the Anker Solix F1500, and it weighs 43.7 pounds, so a little bit more there. It's 18 inches by 11 inches by 9 inches. Now, this one does have one of the longest lengths of all of the units that we're looking at here, but it does have the slimmest in its design, just over 9 inches. So I actually really like the Anker product and the Solix, because when it's really thin, and as I showed you earlier, my Anker Solix F1200, that slim design allowed me to get it up here on my shelf with no issues at all. And so it fits really well in my Jeep. So this is a win for the Anker, so far, and it has a flat top, which I think is key. So again, sorry, Jackery. Now, on to the VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500. Well, you've already seen it in the video, and I think it looks pretty good. This Flashspeed 1500 weighs 41.5 pounds and is 15.5 by 10.5 by 11 inches. So it's the second lightest of the bunch, and the overall size I think is about what you would expect. Now, here's one thing that I really love about the Flashspeed 1500, and no other unit has this incorporated into their design. Let me get the VTOMAN out for you real quick. And that is what I like to call the cable cubby. You heard it here first, the cable cubby. How often are you out and about and you can't find your charging cable, or you're looking for a USB to USB-C cable? In the case of the VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500, you know you're gonna find everything you need right inside here, inside the unit itself. So, honestly, I can say this is not a gimmick. It's actually just amazing. And if you take into account the weight, it's a decent weight, its overall size, decent size, not that hard to carry around, but you add in that cable cubby, for me, the VTOMAN is a win in terms of the overall design. And keep in mind, VTOMAN has a flat top. Again, sorry, Jackery. All right, so now my fourth criteria, and that is the overall number of plug options or outlets. And for this, I'm not gonna go through each and every detail. I'm gonna throw a picture of each one up on the screen and generally talk about each of them. Okay, so here is the Goal Zero Yeti 1500X. It seems to have a couple of your traditional wall outlets, 2 USB-A ports, 1 USB-C port, because the other one you see is actually for input, I believe, and it has that 12-volt cigarette style lighter option, along with what looks like 2 of those 6mm, I think they are, 12-volt ports. I'm sure there's more to it, but generally that's what I'm seeing here as a layman. Now, there's the usual input ports for solar and, AC, and nothing else really exciting here. Now, the Jackery Explorer 1500, I'm seeing 3 of those wall outlets, 1 12-volt car port, 2 USB-A, and one USB-C outlet here in the front. Now, the crazy thing here is the input. I've got to talk about it because it does not support direct AC input. You need to use their special adapter in order to charge the Jackery unit, which I could be wrong, but I think it's a converter that converts to DC power, and it plugs into one of those little round input outlets on the top left corner. And this is very weird in my opinion. It requires a proprietary charging cable, which is not ideal if you lose it and you need to borrow one from a friend, or you need to easily pick one up at the store. It's not so simple with the Jackery. And next, the Anker Solix F1500. What do we have? We have 6, count them 6 wall outlets, 4 USB-A, 2 USB-C, and the old 12-volt car charger. Now, I'm not trying to pick on this one just to make the VTOMAN look good, but I think 6 wall outlets is a little bit of overkill, but hey, it is a good feature nonetheless. I do feel like this Anker is missing perhaps some of those smaller 6mm DC outlets, which those can be very handy on a portable power station, but no biggie. All right, and last we have the VTOMAN. Now, this thing has got to be lacking big time in the number of ports or outlets, right? I mean, it's half the cost, so shouldn't it have like half the outlets, something to that effect? And this has got to be where it takes dead last place. Well, get ready to fall out of your chair, because this VTOMAN actually has the most versatile configuration in terms of ports or outlets, including something you won't see on any other power station that we're comparing here today. Let's take an in-depth look at the clear winner. That's right, I said winner of the outlet battle. Starting off with 3 wall outlets, AC. And I think this is the right number. Maybe 4 would be ideal, something like that. Here we have 4 USB-A outlets, with one of them down at the bottom being described as quick charge. We have 2 USB-C outlets. We have one 12-volt DC car charger, which with actually a very nice cover here for it to keep it a little more weatherproof. Then we have 2 12-volt DC outputs, and those are for things like an electric blanket. Some of those things that have kind of some of those weird little round plugs, those I think are 6mm DC plugs. So these come in very handy as an output. Then for input, you have typical DC, again, that's that smaller DC input. And then we have solar down here. The solar can charge up to 400 watts. And then the big boy right here, the AC input. This thing can pump 1500 watts. Now, when I plug it in, I actually see it starting to get to almost 1700 watts on input, which is why this Flashspeed 1500 can charge in literally 1 hour's time. Now, that's exciting, but it's actually not kind of the coolest feature of this portable power station. Check this out. The VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500 has a port to connect a jumper cable. That's right, a jumper cable for your car. So believe it or not, if you are out overlanding solo and you end up with a dead car battery, you can use a little set of jumper cables that you can get from VTOMAN. Hang on, let me go grab those. All right, here they are. If you check this out, this end plugs in right under there, and you have red and black to connect to your car battery to jump it if you get yourself into a bind.
What's really awesome about that is you don't need a separate battery jumper. A lot of times people will carry those around. It's a little emergency jumper cable battery pack for your car. In this case, you have it right here with your portable power station. You know, this is, in my opinion, so cool. And you know, if you want to be the judge of the features, please do. But in this case here, I think the VTOMAN really sets itself apart with this jumper cable, the 1500 AC input, and actually also these two DC outputs, which is really nice for some of those unique things that you need to charge, or like I said, an electric blanket when you're around camp. All right, now for the last and possibly the most important key feature of any of the attributes of these power stations is safety. We all remember the exploding laptop lithium batteries, right? One of the most important advantages here for LifePo4 is that it tops all the other types of lithium batteries or batteries in terms of safety. I sleep in my Jeep, so the last thing I want is my battery catching fire or exploding. I rest easy with the LifePo4 technology lithium iron phosphate battery in the VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500. Additionally, as you know, the inside of my vehicle is often at high temperatures. This battery can withstand high heat, which is key for those desert overlanding trips where the direct sun is just beating down on your vehicle. All right, so let's review. And this is just based on, a simple overview of the facts. First, life cycles. The winner is the VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500, 3100 life cycles before the battery begins to deteriorate. Second, charging time. The VTOMAN winner again. Its full charge from 0 to 100 takes place in 1 hour. Third, the weight, the size, the physical attributes of it. This one is a little subjective, but for me, the VTOMAN wins because it has the second lowest weight, has a decent size, and has that cable cubby there on the top. No one else has that, and honestly, I still don't think that's a gimmick in any way, shape, or form. Now, maybe this category is a tie with the Anker. The shape and size of the Anker is really nice. Being so thin, you can get it into just areas that you can't get some of these larger shapes into when you're out traveling. Fourth, now outlet options and inputs, plugs, all that stuff, whatever you want to call them. Trying not to make this too technical, trying to keep it in layman's term, but my clear winner, which includes both DC options, a myriad of USB options, and also 3 pure sine wave 110 volt AC wall plugs. That's the VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500. And what takes it over the top for me is that it has that jumper cable output. To be able to jump a dead battery off your portable power station is, just next level in my view. And fifth, let's go to safety. Both the Anker and the VTOMAN are LifePo4 batteries, which are the safest in the industry. So, we'll call that a tie, as both of them beat the Jackery and the Goal Zero on safety. All right, now back to where we started on price. We all remember the VTOMAN was the price performer as well. And if you go to the link in the description, it'll take you straight to the VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500 on their website. Now, VTOMAN did send me this battery to review, but regardless of them giving it to me, I would compare the good and the bad. I've had this battery for some time now. I've put it to the test in the field, and please, if I'm missing something here, let me know in the comments. Blow me up. I don't want to be putting out information that for some reason, just doesn't jive or is not correct. but something tells me this VTOMAN Flashspeed 1500 is really gonna make some waves in the portable power station world. And if you're from Anker, Jackery, or Goal Zero, and you want to reach out to me to correct anything I've said, please let me know. I'll definitely make, if there's any edits that need to be made, I will pin them in the comments about these other power stations if for some reason I've misrepresented their capabilities versus the VTOMAN. And if you've made it this far in the video, thank you, first of all. And if you wouldn't mind, please go and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out the channel and helps it grow over time. It's free for you, but it's priceless for me. And as I usually say, thanks for coming along for the ride.
All right now, like TrailNewbie said, hit that subscribe button. Click that button like you know you want to. There ain't no reason not to. You'll get to see more shots like this. Ooh, that was good. Wait, where'd he go? Is the episode really over? I guess it is. Listen to that 4-cylinder turbo purr. Oh, baby. Now, click on one of these videos. You know you want to. Don't be shy.